Number 18. Now, I know you're looking at number 8 right now, but number 18 says, let's go to it real quick. It says, find the distance between the trees from number 8. So we've already drawn number 8 and discussed why we can't use the law of sines to find the answer, to find the distance between the trees. So we're going to actually do that now. So we go to the picture for number 8. Which my picture is absolutely horrible. You're kind of looking down on it, and here's a tree. There's your green foliage, and here's another tree, and you're pulling this rope tight. Well, ultimately, you see a triangle. It looks like a pyramid stuck between two trees, and I can't draw, but anyway, I never won an art award. Anyway, here's your triangle, and that's what you're trying to find. We can call that X. So let's redraw it and just make it look a little more non-bad. So here it goes. Here's our triangle. And it said this was 24 degrees, and it said one side was 10 feet, the other side was 12 feet. And it said find the distance in between them. I'm not going to call it X at this point. You can if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and just start calling it A, B, C. And then if we're looking for the distance between the trees, then we are looking for little b right there. Okay, so while we're at it, let's go ahead and call this what it is. That's little a because it's across from big A. This is little c because it's across from big C. Okay, one more time, let me tell you, you can't use the law of sines because I don't know both of those, or both of those, or both of those. I lack enough information to use the law of sines, but that's okay. I will use the law of cosines. There are 3 formulas. It looks crazy, like, oh my goodness, I could never memorize that. Really, the structure of them is exactly the same. So let's walk you through one of them. I'm looking for little b. Agreed? Agreed. Good. I'm going to write the formula that starts with the b. And we'll go from there. B squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of big B. Real quick, I want to point out the structure of this. This is one of the easiest formulas to memorize. Honest. These 2 letters are the same as these 2 letters, and these are always the same. If you look at the third one, that right there looks so Pythagorean, it's scary. That looks really Pythagorean, and then that part is thrown in because it's not a right triangle. So, right triangle, not a right triangle. We'll talk more about the structure of the formula in a minute. But anyway, b squared equals a squared plus c squared. Just start plugging stuff in. Minus 2ac cosine b. We are in degrees. Make sure your calculator is in degrees. Probably already is. I know mine is, so I'm just going to keep going because I just checked it a few minutes ago. And we just type it in. Type it in. There are no unlike terms here, so we're just going to start typing. 12 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 12 times 10 times the cosine of 24 degrees. We're about to get a crazy decimal. That's okay. 24.75. That's fantastic. That is not the distance between the trees, because we have to square root it. So we'll square root our last answer. That is the negative button I just hit, by the way. See, second and answer pulls up the last answer you did. That way, first of all, you don't have to type it in. Second of all, it carries all the decimals, so it's a little more accurate. You don't run into rounding error. And then you have 4.97. I believe this was in feet. That is how far apart the trees were. There you go. Good? I hope so. Okay, we're going to use this picture to find the value of theta. Notice we are now finding the measurement of an angle, not the length of a side. Last time, just the problem we just did, we were looking for the measurement of a side. So we were finding like b, little b. Now we're going to be finding the measure of an angle, so we'll be looking for something that'll go right here. The process for solving will be very different for this one. So, what are we looking for? Obviously theta, but what letter, A, B, or C are we looking for? C. Fantastic. Good. We're looking for the angle at C. Therefore, we will pick the formula that has the capital C in it, which also starts with a lowercase c. So here we go. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Again, that looks so Pythagorean, it's scary. However, there's this in here too, because technically this is not a right triangle. Let's start drawing some stuff. This is little a, this is little b, they are the same. They just are. It just happened to be that way this time. That doesn't always happen. Life is not filled with isosceles triangles. We know little c. Now we have something here. And we have something here. And here. And here. And there. And there. And now we're left with cosine of big C. Okay. There are two ways of solving this problem. There is the really quick calculator procedure way. And then there is the let's write it all down way. Let me show you, I'm not going to show you both ways, but I am going to show you something really quick that regardless of what you do, you need to know. Last problem, we typed all that in and we were happy. This time, we can't. That variable prevents us from doing that. We are solving for this. So we have to move these pieces over one at a time. Here's the temptation. If this pencil works, and it barely ever does, I'm going to show you what not to do. Do not type all that in your calculator. Yay, the pencil worked. Do not type all that in your calculator at one time. That is illegal and wrong because this is not a like term with this. That has a variable in it that this guy doesn't have, and it's got a cosine that this doesn't have. I didn't have to deal with that here because I had a number. Here I have a variable. I can't just type, don't you do what I'm doing. I can't just go 22 squared plus 22 squared minus 2 times 22 times 22 and get an answer. It's 0, coincidentally. But I can't just type all that in and be like, oh my goodness, I got it. No, you have nothing other than something wrong. I'm going to show you the calculator way. Here's what I think is the best way to do it. A wise teacher once showed me this. You're going to work your way to get here. If I wanted to solve for C, I'd have to move all these things one at a time. So here goes. We have 10 squared. I know it's 100. You know it's 100, but let's just type it. We would subtract 22 squared. We would subtract 22 squared, and we stop. We'll hit enter. We have to stop there because once we get to the next one, we are, again, working our way to C. We are tempted at this point to add 2. Do not add 2. You will divide by -2, divide by 22, divide by 22. What we're doing is dividing by all these because they're multiplied by that thing we're getting at. Okay, I'm going to stop here and write down what I have. Up until this point, we moved this one over and this one over by subtracting. Then because all three of these were multiplied to this term, we divided them out. And now we're left with 0.89669. I'm going to stop that there. You should use a few decimal places, more than the customary 2. Here's why. We're about to take the inverse cosine of that. Inverse cosine of our last answer, and when you do that last answer thing, it makes it a little more accurate. So there we go. This is a 27 degree, 26, my bad. 26 degree angle. Okay, also you might be tempted to do this. This is not necessary here. That ASTC thing, don't do it. Here's why. Because you'd have an angle here and you'd have an angle here. Well, this angle would be 300 and way too much. And you're dealing with a triangle. I have never seen a 300 degree angle in a flat triangle. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So don't worry about that ASTC stuff, okay? That doesn't apply here. All right. Let's do one more for this video. You and some friends are going to wrestle in your yard. You're not going to wrestle, you're going to wrestle. And you're going to tie a rope around 3 trees. You know it's going to be a triangle. There's an elm tree, there's a maple tree, and there's a spruce tree. You could read the problem and you'll find all that information out. Before we go any further, let me go ahead and put a little E here, and a little M here, and a little S here, and then a lot of people might just hit the panic button right now. Oh my goodness, Mr. Reader, my formulas have A's, B's, and C's, and you just made 3 other letters, E, M, and S. You'll be alright. Deal with it. You got this. The elm and maple tree are 12 feet apart. Between elm and maple, that's 12. So little s is 12. Elm tree and spruce tree. Elm and spruce are 16 feet apart. And the maple and spruce tree are 14 feet apart. Draw a picture to represent it. What is the angle of the rope at the elm tree? This is what they're looking for right here. You can call it theta. I'm looking for big E. If I'm looking for big E, then the formula I pick better have a big E in it. Oh man, I'm out of options. Okay, this is where we talk about the structure of the formula. Little e squared. If I'm looking for whatever variable I'm looking for, I start with the lowercase letter. Equals the other two squared in no particular order, because that's commutative, minus 2 times those same 2. That's not alphabetical order. That's kind of driving me crazy, but that's okay. Multiplied by the cosine of that one. But it's an angle, so it's the capital letter. Okay. That SM slightly looks like sine. That is not intended at all. That is S times M. Alright. We are looking for this. We know everything else. 14 squared equals 12 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 12 times 16 times cosine of capital E. Here we go. I am looking for something on this side, not this one. If you're looking for the length of a side, these are just easy problems like this one was. If you're looking for this, it's going to take a little work to get to it. So here goes. We are going to take 14 squared and subtract that. Subtract that, divide, and then do the inverse cosine. Let's walk through it. We have 14 squared. 196 in case you care. We will subtract 12 squared. We will subtract 16 squared. And we stop there. Why do we stop there? Because we're about to do something different. We're about to divide these out. So far we've taken that one out and taken that one out. Boom, done with that. Now let's take out, I'm going to try to write left-handed. This is going to be messy. We're going to divide by -2. He's out. Ooh, that's awful. Divide by 12. He's out. Divide by 16. He's out. We're left with this. What a nice, pretty number. 0.53125 equals cosine of capital E. One more step and we're done. Inverse cosine of that last answer. E is about a 58-degree angle. There you go.